Hi, my name is Desiree and I'm a Grubhub driver. What is the passion that drives me, you ask? Well, my children would be my very first one. They drive me to do anything and everything in my power to make them okay, make sure they have everything, and make sure they have the love that a lot of people don't see in their lives. So, what would I do with a $10,000 grant? Well, my dream is to be a sign language interpreter. And let me tell you why. My youngest son has gone through an enormous amount of doctors, surgeries, several things in different categories. I don't really want to get too far into it, but he started out not being able to talk. He wasn't coming up to the milestones. He just didn't have it. He had a few words and that was it. He just said mama and bubba and that was it. And so I was determined to find answers and figure it out. And in the meantime, because doctor's appointments and specialists and everything else, it takes time to get to that. So I decided to learn sign language through YouTube. And I taught my son the little things that I know. And that's how him and I communicate. And we have for several years. And during the times that we didn't really know what to do, I decided to get him a brain MRI and find out exactly what was the problem. And it turned out it wasn't just childhood apraxia of speech, which he had been diagnosed by a speech pathologist that used to come to our home. It was also, he had a rare brain condition called Chiari malformation type 1, which in all actuality has nothing to do with why he doesn't talk. It's a completely separate thing. So it was an accidental find. We ended up going through in less than 11 months 2 brain surgeries. The first one, they did a decompression with a C1 laminectomy, and the second one they did a C2 laminectomy, and they removed a bunch of scar tissue that had built up from the previous surgery. After his first surgery, we were flown out by a helicopter and hospitalized for 22 days due to a seroma, which was a pocket of infection that was underneath the dura that they placed in place of the piece of skull that they removed. So that was a whole nother thing. We ended up going through another surgery after that. And during this whole time, I've always wanted to be a sign language interpreter. Like, teaching him and learning it and being able to communicate with somebody who can't talk or say otherwise was a beautiful thing, and I loved it. I fell in love with it. I want to learn it all. I still don't know it all, but I want to learn it all. And that's since then has been my dream. Like, that's what my career is going to be one day. That's what I'm going to do. Well, during all these surgeries, thank God I had already been in touch with Grubhub and driving for them, and it made it easy. It made it to where I didn't lose my job because I spent so much time away in the hospital with my son for MRIs and appointments and COVID tests and everything else that he had to go through and I had to go through. And it was just something that none of us expected. And I didn't ever expect to have to put my dreams on hold, like my career, what could make our life better, my boys' life better. My older son also has Tourette syndrome, which is in a whole nother category, but he learned sign language right along with us. And that's the purpose of this video, is, to learn why I want to be a sign language interpreter. And honestly, it's because of my youngest son and what I had to learn to get in touch with him and to know him and to be able to communicate with him and be there. So my dream, my passion, what drives me, I want to be a sign language interpreter. And I think that a $10,000 grant would give me the opportunity to work when I can and focus and study so that I can get where I need to. I'm sure it doesn't cost 10 grand to become a sign language interpreter, but it may be able to help me financially while I work my way to becoming what I want to, so that I can give my boys a better life. And even being a sign language interpreter, I could still do Grubhub on the side because it's something that I would be on call for. So it's something that I really, really want. And it's something that my boys deserve, to see me happy, to see their mom doing something that was driven by them and their needs. And that's the most important thing in my life, is them. So here's my story.